Alright, YouTube, back at you with another recap of Kings and Kaisers Operation 1.5.2. It is a recap of round 4. And before I get into it, here is the boneyard dish, the casualty bin for the round. Excuse me. As you can see, quite a bit of action went down this round. Sea units from Britain and Germany and France were lost. A lot of Russian casualties, Germans, some more neutrals brought into things. Let's see, Russian fighter was lost, and a few Chinese units as well from either side. A little bit of a healthy mix of things, so to speak. All right, with that out of the way. Let's get on into it. Let's see. Okay. So Austria-Hungary has been building up a sizable navy right there, and they have been feeding a continuous pipeline down to help out the Ottomans in this region of theirs. We also have Austrians over here on the Western Front and in Poland, and we got a growing standoff against Italy down here in this is the Balkans. I can't remember the name of this region right here off the top of my head, but anyway, stuff is happening there, and we see a very sizable standoff right here. Let's see, going on from there, Russia is desperately trying to fend off the Russian Civil War, but it's kind of inevitable at this point. We had a big conflict here in Western Ukraine. Germany attacked from Western Ukraine and didn't roll as well as they should have, and the Russians rolled extremely well as a counter. So for their counter, so Germany did lose a fair amount of units here, but it's not quite enough. And they also sent units down to Volga. They towed a bunch of they used cavalry from Urals to tow units to Volga. And as you can see, the Ottomans went in there and wiped that out as well. But we have those forces there on the way, and we have Iranian units up there. Russia left Estonia open for the Germans, but the Germans did not go up and take it, because if they go to Estonia, if they're adjacent to or contesting Petrograd, then Russia can pay to move their capital to Moscow. And so then Moscow becomes their capital for the remainder of the game, if that occurs. So that's why I got that little risk cap. It's from a copy of a risk that comes with all the arrows and stuff. But that's why I have that little capital marker right there as a visual reminder of that Petrograd is the capital, not Moscow. Russia also tried to attack a German sub in Sea Zone 26 with that dreadnought, but he submerged, and I had rolled it out originally on my turn, but then Madman said no, I would have submerged and stuff. So that sub is still there in Sea Zone 29. Germany continues to feed units into Belgium. They have a minefield in Belgium. They've also gotten a minefield down here in Germany East Africa now. So he is just collecting all the different field technologies, I guess, to put in Germany East Africa right there. So this is drawing a sizable amount of resources from the Allied powers to focus on attempting to contain this before the Ottomans storm into Egypt, which I assume is going to be happening within the future. But yeah, the Germans are fighting everywhere and causing as much chaos as possible down here, and they're also over here as well. So they got French West Africa, Gold Coast, Nigeria. Germans in the Pacific have been whittled down to just the Marshall Islands and German Samoa, and we have the Central Power Fleet here in Sea Zone 42 still, convoying Britain, and Britain looks like they are getting into position to finally deal with it, as Japan cannot leave the Pacific to deal with it. So there's that. France had a successful battle in Lorraine, and is congregating in Verdun with a sizable standoff against the Germans, and the Brits are helping out with some of their units as well. There was a battle between France and Germany in season 28, and this German sub, or there were 2 German subs, which knocked out 2 attacking French cruisers. Dice were just in their favor, so very pesky German sub. So we got 2 German subs left on the board, but the Atlantic Ocean is clear of Central Powers sea units, which is a pretty big deal. It's a national objective for the United States as well as Britain for the Atlantic Ocean to be clear of Central Power warships. So that's a big deal, or can be a big deal at least. What else? That's about that. Japan used its resources to take over as many. Oh yeah, and also Britain finally took Malaya back and eliminated the Germans, kicked the Germans out of Malaya, liberating the minor city of Singapore. Japan managed to take out the Palau Islands and then walk into empty Carolina and Bismarck Archipelago. So just a matter of time for the Pacific colonies point for the Allies to be achieved. But currently the Germans have it because it's like a propaganda victory point essentially. But we got to take out this one. This one's contested, so they don't control that. But we have to take out Marshall Islands, and then that victory point will be secured. Since there aren't any other CP transports and stuff to take over any of the other original Allied territories and stuff. What else? The Ottomans, like I said, they pushed into Volga and wiped out the Russians there, had a pretty good roll. And, Britain attacked Persia. They got another poison gas that they put down in here, and they attacked the Ottomans in Persia, but they didn't roll as well as they should have. They paralyzed the units, but there was still 1 Ottoman infantry left to contest Persia. So the British assault is being slowed down here, which freed up Caucasus to just the Ottoman Caucasus force to just move up to Volga. I believe the Russian Revolution is imminent, but we'll see. Let's see what else. Ottomans basically just sending units down to Palestine and having units up this way. They are still being convoyed up in the Black Sea, but they aren't being convoyed down here at the present time because Italy has had to deal with this oncoming Austrian fleet. Italy went down to Arabia and aligned that for the British, and they also took over Darfur, which gives them an IPC, and they're still holding out against both the Ottomans and the Germans in British East Africa, but I'm assuming this guy will probably cease to exist very, very shortly. What else? Italy got I can't remember if it was this turn or the previous turn, Italy had gotten a machine gun from the U.S., so they put that down there in their force in Veneto, and they got a healthy, sizable amount of units there up in Veneto. They also counterattacked because the Austrians dropped off an infantry into Tuscany, so they went down and attacked that and liberated that territory. So now the railing of units from Rome to Veneto can continue. The United States is still not at war. They have a minimal amount of force. I think there's only 11 units in Southwest U.S., and they were able to finally knock out Hispaniola, and then they have their units prepping to go make it this way. But Mexico could serve as a distraction, so we shall see. That Mexico would certainly give them the empire point. I'm not sure if this is exactly up to date, but this is what we're looking at right now in terms of victory points. Central Powers have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minor cities, so they have the minor cities 3 and minor cities 5. They also have the Black Sea point. Allies have, I believe, have the Africa point for original. Yeah, they do, I think. Pretty sure they do. Yeah, they have the Africa point, which is the Africa point is control of the most original French, German, or British territories, and also the pro-Ottoman territories. And I believe the Allies have that right now. Pacific colonies, so currently the Central Powers have that because they control at least one, but that will be lost soon. Central Powers have Belgrade, and they have the Balkans, and they'll be getting Right now, the Allies have the Russian Revolution point, but the Central Powers will be getting that very shortly. And the Allies have favorable trade. However, the Western Front point, I believe, is a standoff. I believe it's a split right now in terms of, I think it's, Western Front is who controls the most out of Picardy, Burgundy, Belgium, Alsace, Lorraine, and Rhine province. As you can see, it's 3-3, so nobody has that point right now. All right, so there you go. There's that. We also have a few Americans over here in Guam, maybe to reinforce over here when the time comes. And then the National Protection War in China. It's been very Allied favored, this game. Madman has just gotten diced on his attacks. And yeah, this is not the greatest example of it, because we have played this where it has not been this lopsided. But this particular instance of the National Protection War is very lopsided in favor of the Empire of China, just because that's just how the dice have been. So there's that. We'll see if Madman can slow me down, or if I get diced horribly, but kind of doubt that with how many units I have left in Hope. So we shall see. But that is a good summary of round 4. No tanks have been bought, but we can start buying tanks. I'm going to continue watching the rest of his turn to see what Austria-Hungary's doing, and then go from there and do Russia's turn. So take care.